If you're someone who's looking to move to Israel and take advantage of immigration benefits, then keep watching. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ravital Moses and I create videos on Israel. Be it some of the interesting places to visit or important procedures related to Israel, you have it covered. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most searched topics, which is moving to Israel. This is not just moving for education or moving for work, but it's moving for good, where you make Israel your homeland and where you see your future. So before we get into this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos on Israel and hit that bell icon to receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. Let's go. So let's begin. Every year, thousands and thousands of Jews make Aliyah, finding great career opportunities, warm communities, and a holistic Jewish life. The Hebrew word Aliyah literally means ascent or rise, but for generations it has been used to mean immigration to Israel. Israel has always been the center of the Jewish universe, but for centuries the dream of moving to Israel was just a dream. In the 1880s, organized groups began to immigrate to Israel with the goal of building communities. Aliyah became the official term for immigration to Israel. In 1950, the State of Israel opened her doors to the Jews of the world and passed the law of return. And guess what? Moving to Israel has its benefits and I'm going to be sharing it with you today. Make sure you make note of them to ensure a smooth first few months or the first few years of Aliyah in Israel. So let's begin. When you complete your Aliyah process, new immigrants, or popularly known as Olim, are eligible for one-way direct free Aliyah flight. A one-way flight to Israel could be really expensive, so this is a great benefit, although Olim who purchase their own tickets are not eligible for a refund. So make sure you take advantage of this free Aliyah flight. Moving on to the next one, once you land in Israel, you get a free taxi ride to the first destination in Israel. And I have to say, a free flight to Israel and a free taxi ride to the first destination in Israel is a very well thought benefit, because when you're moving to a new country, it can be really overwhelming, and taking care of the logistics is another challenge all by itself, especially for people who make Aliyah all by themselves. It can be really challenging to take care of all of this, what to do, where to go, who to contact. So I think it's very well thought and taken care of. Moving on to the next benefit, which is financial assistance. Financial assistance specifically for new immigrants or Olim is also known as Sal Klita. This assistance is provided by Misrat HaKlita, which is Ministry of Aliyah and Integration. You receive an initial cash payment at the airport, followed by an additional wire transfer after you give Misrat HaKlita your bank details. You will receive 6 monthly installments of Sal Klita, all of which will be transferred directly into your Israeli bank account. The amount of Sal Klita given is determined by age and family status. It is paid during the first 6 months of your Aliyah, between the 1st and the 15th of every month. Now this is the part where you carefully need to pay attention. If an immigrant leaves Israel in the first 6 months of Aliyah, regardless of any reasons, the payments will be discontinued. Once you return to Israel, if it is within the first year of Aliyah, your payments will be automatically reinstated 14 days after you return. Although, if an immigrant returns after 13 months of making Aliyah, the payments will be discontinued. Moving on to the next one, which is a very interesting benefit, but it is required in Israel, which is free Hebrew classes. You receive a free Hebrew Ulpan course in Israel. To define Ulpan is an institute of intensive Hebrew study. It is available in many locations around Israel. The address that happens to be on Ole's identification card dictates the location of the individual's Ulpan. New immigrants or Olim can access this benefit up to 10 years of making Aliyah. A standard subsidized Hebrew course lasts for about 5 months, 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. Well, and the interesting part is, if you request for another 5 months, because you have levels of Hebrew like the basic level, the intermediate level, and the expert level. I did the basic level and I requested to go for an intermediate level, and they were generous enough to give me a free intermediate level Hebrew course. So all you have to do is ask them, but make sure you at least do these 5 months of basic course. Moving on to the next part, which is health coverage. The National Insurance Institute, also known as Bituach Leumi, provides free basic coverage in any health fund of your choice for the first 6 months of Aliyah, and another 6 months after Aliyah for those without an income. Olim or new immigrants begin paying into Bituak Leumi, which in turn pays for basic health care after 6 months or if employed prior to the end of the first year of Aliyah. Before we move on to the next benefit, I would just like to say you can now pause this video and hit that subscribe button, because trust me, your subscriptions help me create more quality content on Israel, and I want to keep striving at creating more such videos. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support my videos. Moving on with the next benefit, which is bringing money to Israel. The maximum amount of cash that an immigrant can bring into Israel without the need to report to the authorities is 50,000 shekels. From 50,000 shekels and above, you will need to report to the customs by filling out a form. Practically, this means only signing a waiver. The signee is not questioned or investigated. Rather, the information serves the purpose of being able to assist the authorities to reduce international money laundering attempts to Israel. We all know that money is very, very important, especially when you're going to a new country, starting from scratch, and bringing in money from your home country to a new country has a lot of ifs and buts. But I think this is a great idea to bring in 50,000 shekel, which is not a large, like a huge amount, but it is a big amount for you to actually start your life in Israel. So make sure you get your money. Okay, we have already covered 6 benefits. Moving on to the 7th, which is very crucial because we all know rent is so expensive in Israel. Ministry of Housing offers new immigrants rental assistance beginning from 8th month after Aliyah. The period of eligibility for rental assistance is up to 5 years from the date of receiving your immigration status. The level of assistance will be defined according to your family status and the number of years you have resided in Israel. I also want to mention something which is not related to the benefits but can be beneficial in terms of planning where you want to stay. So, center of Israel, which is basically Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, all of those cities, will be much more expensive compared to moving away from the center. I also know for a fact that some people love the city and some people don't. So the more you move towards the center, the rent prices will keep going up. But again, there is rent subsidy. I personally didn't know about it till I started this research, and I never took rental assistance or subsidy for that matter. But if you have the chance, go for it. We just spoke about rent, but we also know that we have bills to pay and it's also a lot of taxes. But guess what? If you're an immigrant, you will have some sort of discount on your city taxes. All cities and towns in Israel charge arnona, which is municipal property tax, whether you are renting or owning your own property. And new immigrants are customarily granted 70 to 90% discount on arnona. Alright, moving to the last and the final benefit, which is a car benefit. I think car is essential in Israel because public transport is, well, decent, but I think it's always better to have a car in Israel. New immigrants pay a reduced tax rate on the purchase of new car in Israel or the import of a car from abroad. In order to be eligible for the tax reduction, Oli must hold a valid foreign driver's license that was issued at least 3 months prior to the date of Aliyah. A valid Israeli driver's license is also required. The benefit is valid only for a new car or passport-to-passport purchase, and it is available up to 3 years after Aliyah. These are the major benefits that Olim or new immigrants should definitely take advantage of to ensure smooth integration in Israel and Israeli communities. And I hope this video really enlightens you with all the benefits you have. Make sure you do your research. I wish I would have done the research before, but I am doing it for you. If you have any questions, please go down in the comment section and leave your questions. I will try and answer as much as I can because I want to help make your process as smooth as possible. I will see you next time.